She's the daughter of Nightcrawler and the Scarlet Witch of Earth 2182. Let's get into today's video and find out who is Nocturne. Nocturne's true name is Talia Josephine Wagner. She often goes by TJ. TJ inherited her father's appearance. She has blue fur, 3 fingers and toes on each hand and foot, yellow eyes, pointed ears, canine teeth, and a 3.5-foot long retractable tail. Being raised mostly by her father, she grew up spending most of her time around the X-Men. So of course, when she was old enough, she joined the X-Men herself. Nocturne has superhuman agility and reflexes, along with a flexible spine which allows her to contort her body. She has limited telepathic abilities which allow her to read minds and project her thoughts into the minds of others. She can stick to solid surfaces, fire hex bolts, and can possess another person's body for up to 12 hours. While she served with the X-Men, Nocturne became romantically involved with her teammate James Proudstar, known as Thunderbird. She always worked hard trying to please her father and make him proud, but he often was so tough on her during her training that it caused friction between the two. But outside of that, life was going good for TJ. She was in a band, had a budding relationship with Thunderbird, and she was an X-Men. But that would all change quickly. Nocturne was one of 6 heroes from different realities that had become unstuck from time. So TJ, along with Blink from Earth 295, Magnus from Earth 27, Mimic from Earth 12, Morph of Earth 1081, and Thunderbird of Earth 1100 were all brought together by the Time Broker. The Time Broker would explain to the heroes that they had all been affected by a ripple in time. New events had occurred in their past, which in turn had altered each of their lives. The only way they could get back to the lives that they knew was to travel to different realities where these events had occurred and stop them from happening. The 6 heroes would now be known as the Exiles. The Time Broker gave a device known as the Talus to Blink, who would co-lead the Exiles with Mimic. The Talus would guide them in repairing the timeline and work in conjunction with Blink's teleportation powers to allow them to jump to each of these realities. The Exiles then set out to restore the timeline so they could return to the lives they knew. They would travel from reality to reality, stopping the events that had led to the ripple. As they adventured, Nocturne once again found herself attracted to her teammate Thunderbird. The two would become romantically involved and Nocturne would end up pregnant. Then, while trying to stop an event on Earth 5962, Thunderbird sacrificed himself to defeat Galactus and save that Earth. Although Thunderbird managed to survive the incident, he was now comatose, so Nocturne and the Exiles were forced to leave Thunderbird behind and continue their mission. To help them out, the Time Broker replaced Thunderbird with Sasquatch from Earth 3470. As they continued to adventure, the stress of losing her lover weighed on Nocturne and she ended up having a miscarriage. As the Exiles continued their travels, they ended up on Earth 616, where Nocturne would meet Nightcrawler and the two would bond. Then, after visiting several other realities, the Exiles found themselves back in the 616 reality. At the end of that mission, the Talus instructed the team that Nocturne was supposed to be left in the 616. So naturally, her first instinct was to go see Nightcrawler and join the X-Men. But before she could do so, she was talked into going undercover in Exodus's Brotherhood by the Juggernaut. Nocturne worked with the Juggernaut and the X-Men to help defeat the Brotherhood. As the Brotherhood was defeated, they were sucked into a black hole, but unfortunately so were Nocturne and the Juggernaut. The duo would end up in Mojo World. To escape, Nocturne would use her ability and possess Spiral and force her to open a portal back to Earth. They would emerge from the portal in the Danger Room. Now normally, Nocturne's possession would leave the host comatose for up to 24 hours after she exited the host body. But for some reason, Spiral wasn't affected. She pretended to be comatose, but left a portal open for Mojo to follow her. Fortunately, the X-Men were able to defeat Mojo and return back to their adult forms after being turned into babies. Nocturne has since gone on to join Excalibur, rejoin the Exiles, and reunite with Thunderbird, who had recovered. Well, that's the origin of Nocturne, and that's a wrap for today's video. As always, I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day to stop by the channel and check out this video. Please like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you again real soon. But until then, I'm outie. Peace.